What's up, Vikings fans? Similar to the fifth round, the Vikings start their sixth round by trading their 201st pick to the Baltimore Ravens. Then at 203, they draft the tackle out of Oregon State, Blake Brandel, and then the safety out of Michigan, Josh Metellus. We'll start with you, Eric. You want to, I mean, when you start a round by a trade, you're making a statement. And with that trade, what do you think the statement is made? And give us some more details on, this trade with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, so it's almost like you said, the sixth round played out just like how the fifth round did for the Vikings, right? They entered the fifth round with 3 picks. They traded the first one to the Bears. Now they enter the sixth round with 3 picks. They trade the first of those picks to the Ravens. And so the way that trade went down, the Vikings traded pick 201 and 219 in the seventh round to Baltimore for 225 in the seventh round this year and a fifth round pick next year. So similar to what Rick Spielman did in the fifth round, getting a fourth rounder for next year, he now has a fifth rounder for next year. So Rick entered today with 13 picks. Everyone made a big deal about that. He said he wanted to trade up or trade around and kind of look at next year, and he's done that twice: a fourth rounder for next year and a fifth rounder for next year.
For sure. And Blake Brandel, we'll start with him, and then Ron, I'll get to you. But Blake Brandel, I'm really high on this guy. He adds a lot of depth to the O-line, being 6'7", 308 pounds. According to Pro Football Focus, he had the best pass blocking grade in the nation this past year. He graded at 93, which is a really good grade. He had a 90 grade overall throughout his entire career. And just a guy like him with his size, you look for somebody who can stay low, who can, get a hat on a hat. And he does that. He's nasty too. When he gets his hands on you, he's driving you to the ground. He's one of those guys that likes pancakes, that like serve with his pancakes. So he played 48 games in his career, and he started, and he didn't put it like this. He didn't get hurt his entire college career. And as a lineman, that says a lot, because you really, you're in the trenches. So at the same time, while you're in the trenches, you got to stay healthy and be able to, open up holes. And he's done that. And I like this guy a lot. And, just going forward, I think he's going to make an impact. He didn't get invited to the combine. So I think he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder, showing and, telling, other people, hey, I'm here for a reason. So I'm excited about this guy. But moving on to Josh Metellus, Ron, what you got on him?
Yeah, Josh Metellus, if you watch him, I'm from Detroit, so I see a lot of Michigan football, as well as they're in the Big Ten, and I cover the Gophers. So when you look at Josh Metellus, just eye test, he looks like a safety. Like he walks around, he's smooth, he looks extremely confident back there. The Vikings, that's a good pick. The reason is they only have Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith on the roster right now as far as true safeties. And so when you watch Metellus on film, he's a guy that can come into the box and actually cover. And Michigan dropped him down in the box a few times where he got some interceptions and some PBUs. But he's a kid that can come down in the box, make a big hit, make a tackle, but he can also decipher when receivers switch, when there's a lot of checks and changes. He's not a guy that's going to get confused by a lot because of what Michigan does. When they added Josh Gaddis, offensive coordinator from Alabama, Josh put a lot of pressure on these safeties and corners when he got there with his receiving core. And so this kid's going to come in and make an immediate impact, but he is a special teams guy. That's what I think they're looking for, a guy that can play special teams and also be a backup if something happens to Harrison or Anthony Harris.
One more round, Vikings fans. Stick with us. Make sure you're following us on all of our digital platforms and social media, and watching us on Vikings.com.